Hello, everyone. Welcome to this interview. Today, we have a special guest coming on, someone with a beautiful heart, with a beautiful soul, and she's someone I met in Fiji when I went to an event with her, and her name is Catherine Worth. Catherine, how are you today?
I'm doing very good, Eugen. Very nice to be with you.
Oh, very nice to be with you too. All right. To begin, let's start with something a bit lighter. Do you mind to tell us a bit about your early life and some of the circumstances that have kind of shaped who you are today?
Of course, great question. Um, I grew up in New Jersey in the United States.
Yes.
I was the youngest of three girls.
Mm,
So I grew up in that family setting. My parents actually separated when I was still a baby.
mm,
So I grew up mainly with my mom and my sisters, and had frequent visits with my dad, and like it's still a huge part of my life. It still is today.
yeah.
But kind of grew up in two divided households.
Yes.
Um, and my sisters were a little bit older than me, so I was always a little bit behind. So they would do a lot together, and then I spent a lot of time at home alone.
Oh no.
But yeah, it was still a beautiful family, beautiful childhood.
Uh,
My grandmother is from Switzerland,
uh,
so we had a lot of family there, and we were able to go visit the family very frequently growing up. So Switzerland's like another home for me.
oh,
Um, and yeah, growing up, it was very good. I was very studious into myself. So I did very well in school. It came naturally to me. So I got most of
yeah.
my praise for doing well in school.
Ah,
And
awesome.
yeah, so it was good. I was always active. I was always playing sports or dancing.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, ultimately, I feel very grateful to have the upbringing and opportunities that I had. But yeah,
Awesome. Is there anyone that you feel had any specific people or moments so far that you felt had a profound impact on your life journey so far?
my grandmother definitely stands out.
Mm,
She has always been a really big inspiration to me. She
yeah.
moved to New York City in the 60s and started her own business here,
Wow.
and raised my mom at the same time all by herself.
Wow.
So she is a force.
She's a force of nature.
And absolutely.
Oh.
And she's still alive today. She's 97 years old.
Still
And
going
she's,
strong. Hell yeah.
yeah, she still lives with my mom and goes into the office with her. So my mom joined the business and is keeping it alive. And now my stepsister is joined the force and is keeping it alive.
Oh.
But I, my grandmother's been living with the family for a while now. So I had the gift of having my grandmother live with us and being able to take care of her and support her for all the ways that she support me and my family.
Beautiful.
And she's always stood out because she's very strong-willed, and she also has a very strong identity that you should do what makes you happy,
Yeah.
that success is equal to enjoying what you do. She's like, I can't imagine going to work every day and not loving what I do. She
Yeah.
absolutely loved her business and loved what she did. And she thinks that is like the big part of why she was so successful in life. So whenever we have a new job or we're trying something new, she makes sure to check in and say, well, do you love what you're doing?
That's
And
beautiful.
yeah, so she's definitely been an inspiration.
Awesome. It reminds me of a Tony Robbins quote about success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. You gotta find fulfillment in what you do.
Absolutely.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that. Okay,
Yeah.
on to the next question. Could you share some of the biggest challenges that you have faced in your life so far? And yeah, how was it like to be in a challenge, and possibly how do you overcome them? And if you cannot think of anything, maybe you could share about some, yeah, whatever comes to your mind for now.
Yeah. Um, when I think of one of the most challenging times for me,
Yes.
um, I had a lot of challenges with my relationship. My
Mm.
That spoke of my wheel.
Yes.
So while I had a lot of great things in my life between family and school and being healthy and strong and all these beautiful things and
Yes.
having like a great mindset, are where I had to have some of my harder lessons.
Yes.
And fortunately, I had them early in life. So from the age around 18 to 24,
Yeah.
I was involved with a partner in a really unhealthy relationship.
Mm.
And that was definitely a time of my hardest moments, my biggest challenges, my deepest moments of grief and pain and hurt.
Mm.
And I would hit rock bottom and think that was all I could take. And then I'd take some more.
Wow.
So it was 6 years of really loving another human and trying to give them my all. And
Yes.
they were trying to he was trying to give me his all. But I learned later, looking back at it, we were both loving each other in the ways that we were taught to love. And that wasn't always the healthiest thing when you're raised in a disjointed family, or for him, he was raised in a very abusive family and had a lot of different things going on.
Yeah.
So the caring was always there, but the ways we would treat each other and react to each other were really unhealthy and painful.
Mm.
So that was definitely a very, very challenging time of my life.
Yeah.
Um, I have a lot of experiences from it that I'm never thought that I would have, but I'm grateful to be on the other side looking back at it. And I think in terms of overcoming these challenges,
Mm. What kind of things
part
kept you going through these hard times? What kept you going? What kept you kind of sane? And what pushed you to, there's something more to this?
absolutely. So I think the entire time, so even when I started the relationship, I
Yes.
knew it wasn't right, but I didn't know what I didn't know. And I didn't have the tools to express myself or set stronger boundaries or say, no, that's not okay.
Yeah.
I just wasn't there yet in my life.
Yes.
But from the beginning, I always had my inner voice.
Mm.
And no matter what happens in life and whatever challenges people overcome or face, you do have like the mental chatter and like the noise,
Yes.
but right behind that noise, there's this voice that's very true and sincere, and it's you.
Yeah.
So no matter what I faced, whether it was like the most painful day of my life or whatever, I, at the end of the day, always knew I still had me. And that was a huge guiding force during all of that. That no matter what craziness, what pain would happen, I knew that I always had me. And
Oh, you had you.
I, yeah, I was never completely lost, you
Yes.
know? And in that time, I did a lot of self study. I started doing some more personal work, trying to figure out this puzzle. How the heck do I get out of here?
Yeah. Dealing with a person from
um,
another world.
yeah, I was like, I don't know what to do,
Yeah.
but I started studying things like Tony Robbins and other energy healers and other pranic healers and other spiritual leaders, and just trying to get as much strength that I could
Yes.
And there were a lot of moments where I would learn something amazing, but I couldn't use it in that environment. So what would happen was I would say, okay, Catherine, you have another tool in your tool belt. You learned another tool. And even though you can't use it right now because the circumstances aren't allowing it,
Mm.
you have that tool and it's always going to be with you. When the time is right, you're going to be able to use it and move forward.
Yes.
So I kept doing the best I could. I kept learning and educating myself and investing in myself
Yes.
when I felt completely alone
Mm.
and disconnected from the world, and trying to just add more resourcefulness to who I am.
Mm.
Um, and I think ultimately, can you still see me all right?
Yes.
Okay, I had a phone call coming in. Um, Ultimately, what got me through to the other side, unfortunately, was actually a lot of pain.
Yes.
I hit my threshold. And one day I just woke up and my whole nervous system, my whole body wouldn't let me go back to that situation. I was visiting my family and I just like woke up, tears running down my face, and I turned my sister and said, I can't do this. I can't go back. And I had a lot of family support me. I went and lived with my godmother for a little bit
Yeah.
to just get some space and set some new boundaries and cut off. But I ultimately said, okay, I love and care about this person, but whatever I'm trying to do with him, it's not benefiting either of us. You
Yes.
know, we need to help ourselves at this point.
Mm.
Like, we're not bringing our best selves to the table. We're not supporting each other. We're not being kind to each other. We both need to go back to self and take care of ourselves before we can even have a conversation that is comprehensive or productive.
Yes.
So I completely disconnected. I sent him a message saying, listen, you need to take care of you. I need to choose better for me. And I truly felt it. And I meant it sincerely and I said it kindly. And then I did not talk to him for over a year. I just completely got myself out of the situation and took a radical step um, to choose me again.
Yes. That's beautiful. What I hear is
Yeah.
that sometimes we we may not know what we know, but once the pain threshold gets there, then sometimes all this pain cuts out all the inner noise and we find out what's true within us, and then we just take that step forward, however hard it may be. And it's wonderful that you had so many systems of support, like your family, your godmother, to help you along your journey, and that's pretty beautiful.
Yes, I'm really grateful for all of them. And at some point, it's very helpful when you have some sort of community. So just, all you really need is one person to look at you and say, I believe in you. I see you. Let's choose better for you. And so it's that like person just reflecting back to you, like, hey, you're worth more than this. Like, let's get you into a better situation.
Yes,
And so I'm very grateful for those people.
awesome. I'm so glad that the people were there for you when you really needed them.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for sharing about that vulnerable story, and yeah, and sharing that even though it might have reminded you of some things in the past. Thank you for being so honest and sharing that. I guess looking at where you are today, what are you most proud of for yourself for where you are now?
Hmm.
Yes. Since we're also coming to the end of 2024, I would like to take this opportunity to kind of celebrate your greatness as to where you are now.
Wow.
Yes.
Thank you, Jen. That's a beautiful question.
Thank you.
Um, I will say, hmm, I'm really proud of the connection that I've made with myself this year.
Yes.
So, about a year ago, I was an entirely different person. I was in a completely different state.
Yes.
I was very depressed. I did not trust myself or others at all.
Mm.
And I was living in my pain. And this year, I really connected back to my spark, my inner fire and light.
Yes.
And I started taking bigger and bigger risks.
Oh,
And so I flew to Fiji by myself from
yes.
New Jersey. And then I went to New Zealand by myself and met up with a group there. And I just started putting myself in new situations. I got back to New Jersey and said, nothing good is here for me right now. And I up and moved to Maine. Um, and when I was living alone in Maine, my body finally could relax and my nervous system started regulating again.
Yeah.
But I started putting in the work to make a connection with myself because in my travels in the earlier in the year, I realized, holy smokes, not only do I not trust other people, I don't trust myself. And
Mm.
that's a really scary feeling when you are on the other side of the world, completely alone, and you're like, hey, I don't trust you. And you're like, holy smokes, what do I do?
Please most.
um, so it's been a really incredible year for really getting back to who I am. And I think what I'm most proud of is that connection with myself, that I look in the mirror and I'm happy to see me. I take care of myself. I use my voice now. I'm not afraid to express myself and be honest.
Yes.
And I'm just completely, I feel like I'm showing up as a completely new person. And I think right now, looking back at 2024, that's really what I'm most proud of.
That's beautiful. Awesome. What exactly changed to make you trust yourself even more? Could you share some of the
Mm.
strategies or journeys that you went through, or some moments that allowed you to realize, oh, I can trust this person?
Um, totally. To give context,
Yes.
uh, in the beginning, it was as simple as things of how do I feed myself?
Yeah.
Mind you, I grew up in a big family.
Yeah.
I had no problem when I'm in my family setting feeding a family of five, six people. I make breakfast for everyone, dinner for everyone. I love cooking. So
Wow.
it was like, sure, I know how to cook. I know how to like take care of people, but
Yes.
I haven't focused that towards myself. And I had a lot of scarcity mindset. So it's like, oh my gosh, how much money am I spending on food? Do I have enough? How do I feed myself? Like, I don't recognize this. And it was just like, I was in a really like, I didn't know how to take care of myself. So part of it is baby steps. Part of it was just figuring it out day after day and like keep showing up for yourself and keep saying, okay, well, we didn't do great today, but now we know that we can do better. Um, I think living by myself, it was really challenging at times.
Mm.
And I definitely like went through my emotional ups and downs. And I think sometimes you need to let the emotions surface. So instead of like forcing away the fear or the anxiety to just like be with it sometimes and
Mm.
be like, you know what? I'm really scared right now. And maybe you call a friend and you connect with them.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of baby steps like that. I think a really big shift happened for me around the time I took Leadership Academy,
Yes.
um, because it really energized me. It gave me a lot of tools, and they said a lot of times leaders go first, and the
Yes.
first person you need to lead is yourself.
That's right.
And so for me, I looked at that and heard that, and I was like, okay, all of these tools that we're learning, yes, they're amazing to use in connecting with other people,
Yes.
but how about I start using them on myself?
Hmm.
So I started, using those different tools that we were learning to ask myself better questions, to
Yes.
connect with myself more. And a little funny thing that I started doing, I took up Joseph McClendon III's morning ritual.
Oh, is it
And
his 4 steps?
yes, so every morning I still do it. I still do it. I kid you not. I drink my water. I think of what I'm grateful for, and I go to the bathroom. And when I look in the mirror, I say, I love you.
I love
And
you.
I mean it. That was like actually a really big shift for me
Yes.
because I didn't have that before. Like I had moments of it and like feelings of it, but I didn't express it enough. So I started doing that every morning, and at first I had so much energy with it. And so that energy just kept going. And then it happens where like I be at work. I worked on a farm this summer. So I'd be at work and I go into the porta potty and there's like this tiny little mirror that is like half broken, but I catch a glimpse of myself and I'd be like, "Hey, you, I love you."
I
And
love you.
I just go for it. And it was super silly and goofy, but after a little while, like once you start like having that connection with yourself, then you could be anywhere and you feel safe and secure and complete. And so that was honestly a really fun ritual that I started that I still do, and it still makes me smile all the time.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I remember that ritual. I did it for a while, but I don't know why I dropped off. I'm gonna get back into the habit of doing that because it sounds amazing.
Awesome.
Yes. Thank you for reminding me of it.
Absolutely.
I think, yes, I think so many times we love to empower people, to lift people up, but we forget to lift ourselves up. And sometimes
Yeah.
we remember the connection with ourselves is so important. And you have to appreciate yourself even more, like just simple acts. I love the fact that you just saw a tiny broken mirror and you just said, I love you. That's that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah,
Sorry.
absolutely.
Awesome. I think that's just such a great tool to use. Awesome. All right. And going forward now, could I know what goals or dreams are you currently working towards for the future?
Great question.
Yes.
So, I have been noticing recently that I am butting up against a lot of my fears.
Mm.
So, uh, and I'm recognizing that my fears are just protection mechanisms.
Yes.
So, like when I look at my future and I get overwhelmed and I say, well, I don't know what I want. That's just my brain and my ego trying to protect me and keep me safe.
Yes.
So there's a few dreams if I'm like, once I kind of step back and say, okay, I get it. I don't know what I want. But if I did know what I want,
I love it.
what
I
would
love
that
it.
be?
Yes.
And honestly, I one of my big dreams is to live outside of the country.
Mm.
I've been dreaming recently about going to Switzerland for some time because I do have family and citizenship there. And I also am dreaming of going back to New Zealand and connecting to the cultures there. When it comes to myself, I really care about movement. I think movement has also been a crucial thing for me in connecting to my body again, to connecting to my sense of self, and to starting to heal some of the traumas that I went through.
Yes.
So I think movement, if it's yoga or dance or something more active like running, like or kickboxing, like when you move, you start to move the energy in your body. And it's one of the best ways I find to start releasing what's stuck inside. So I would love to be a movement teacher in some way or another, whether that's teaching yoga or teaching dance or having some sort of setting where people come together and we can work through that together. Um, I really want to start doing some more community service. And specifically, when I think of what populations I love to work with, um, something as simple as playing piano for the elderly would be beautiful. That's something I've thought of before.
That is,
Or hmm?
yes. Something simple can be so beautiful already.
Yeah, or something more intense, like working with people who are healing from domestic violence, because that's really the situation I was in. And so when I meet someone who's currently there, um, like when I was in UPW recently, I was working with a woman and we were sharing our answers. And I was just being honest and vulnerable. And she started crying. And I was like, why are you crying? And
Oh,
she was really honest with me. And she said, that's, I'm crying because I'm where I'm in that situation now.
oh,
And seeing that you were able to get out of it gives me hope that I know I can too.
that's beautiful.
And so that was a really big pivotal moment for me. And so I'd really like to work with that population more and
Yeah.
start helping and inspiring people to get back to self and live in their power, you know?
Yes. That's really beautiful. It's because that you have been there before, you have been to the darkest places, that you're able to share your story, be vulnerable, and lift people out of there. So the all the pain and the bad things that we may have been through could actually be our gifts and use them to empower and elevate so many people around us. And I think that's a beautiful example of how you're able to do so just by speaking your truth and telling your story. You're able to give hope to someone in a similar situation as you. That's amazing.
Yeah, I really hope to make a big impact there.
Yes. And I'm sure you'll be able to.
Thank you.
Awesome. If there was one piece of advice that you would give to someone going through similar struggles now, what would you say?
Ooh,
Yes, just one piece, because sometimes that's all they can take sometimes.
mm,
Yes,
ooh, give me a second to think.
no problem.
Like someone going through what I went through, or just any struggle.
Mm, what would your heart like to answer?
Okay, let's see.
Yes.
Um, hmm. I think my piece of advice would be whatever you're going through, it's there for you. It may feel painful and be one of the worst experiences, and you don't understand it and you don't know why, but you don't need to ask, why is this happening? Just know that your creator put it there for you so you can overcome it and grow from it. And I think this is going into a second piece of advice,
Oh,
but
awesome. Sure. Keep it coming, keep it coming.
ultimately, you're not alone in that struggle. Everyone feels that their pain is completely unique. And in some ways, it absolutely is. Your
Yes.
experience on this world is completely unique to you, but it is at the same time completely universal. And there is someone there who understands your pain and can help you through. So just know that you got this. You can absolutely overcome anything you're facing right now, and that there will always be someone there for you.
Wow, that was beautiful. That came straight from the heart. Thank you for sharing
Absolutely.
that. That was so wise. Beautiful. Awesome. Okay. I guess we're coming to the end of the interview. Is there any
Amazing.
final words that you would like to share to anyone who is watching this?
I'm just so grateful that you reached out. I'm really happy to be here and sharing with you and whoever this touches and reaches. I hope that it has a beautiful impact on you. Um, we're all in this together. We're on the same team. So the more we can reach out and help each other, I think it's a beautiful thing and a beautiful thing you're doing, Yuchen. So thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming on this. Thank
Yes.
you. Okay, with that, thank you for listening.